Today we are going to solve another problem with the Samsung NF508 NZW washing machine. Specifically, it refuses to turn on. After the last repair, it worked flawlessly for 2 years, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, it stopped turning on. In fact, it doesn't lock its door. At the same time, an error appears on the display. Let's check how everything works. We close the door. We turn on the wash cycle with full force, setting it for 15 minutes. When starting, the DE error appears. It could also be the add error. Or, if there is no digital menu, there might be a specific combination of blinking lights. Before performing any repair work on the machine, it must be disconnected from the power supply. To access the door lock, you don't need many tools, just a flathead and a Phillips screwdriver. First of all, you need to open the door and remove the rubber seal that runs around the perimeter of the loading chamber. To do this, take a flathead screwdriver and pry up the retaining ring under the seal. Here, you can see that it's located right here. And carefully work it out of its position. Now, remove the retaining ring. It looks like this, with a small spring at the bottom so it can expand and contract. Now take the seal and push it inside so it doesn't get in the way while you work. Next, unscrew the 2 screws that secure the lock to the body. And after moving the rubber gasket aside, take the lock out of its place. After that, remove the protective housing of the lock, and this is what it looks like. Disconnect the lock from the connector by pressing the 2 tabs. Here you can see a lot of carbon buildup in the middle. We need to figure out what the problem is. This is what the lock looks like on my washing machine. The brand is Metal Flex ZV446. You can see burn marks on contacts 3, 4 and 5. The 4th and 5th contacts are burned. The same thing is visible on the connector that plugs into it. Here you can see the black soot. The plastic has melted. This means there was a problem with the switch and the contacts were burning. In this case, you can either buy a non-good lock or try to fix the old one. To check the lock, you need to use a regular tester, either digital or analog. Set it to the 2 kilo ohm position and check what the resistance is here. Contacts 3 and 5 receive a voltage of 220 volts and they are used to heat the heating element inside. The resistance across them should be around 800 to 1000 ohms. Let's check. Connect the contacts here and measure the resistance. The resistance is infinite, which means there's some problem with the heating element or its contacts. We also check contacts 4 and 5, which are signal contacts, and in the case of the lock being engaged, they should show a short circuit. There's nothing here, which means they are faulty. First, remove the switch itself from the entire housing. Here it is, snapped in place with 4 small latches. Here is the locking mechanism itself. It's working properly, nothing is broken. Now let's disassemble the lock itself. There are also latches here. Carefully unhook them. And finally, remove the cover. The device is very simple. At the bottom here is the heating element. Here, the rocker arm moves in both directions. Basically, now we need to check the functionality of the heating element, located here. If we press the rocker arm by hand and check the resistance between the 4th and 5th contacts, we'll see that they are connected. This means that most likely something is wrong with the heating element at the bottom. It's a pity that it's not disassemblable here. Usually there's a little screw here, but in this case everything is tightly soldered shut. You can see burn marks here because the heating element is shorting out. Let's remove the top part and see what's underneath. You can see the heating element. It can be cleaned to restore contact since it's all burnt. Use fine sandpaper to remove the residue. Across the entire surface so that it becomes shiny. There, it should all shine like this. Clean the contact pad. Check the condition of the contact plate and reassemble everything in reverse order. Now we need to solder here a little bit. Take the soldering iron and lightly solder the fastenings of the contact pad. After that, measure the resistance of the heating element again. It reads 945 ohms, which means it will work. And reassemble the lock housing in place. Carefully put the lock mechanism back into its designated housing, ensuring a secure and proper fit. Check the operation of the closing spring. There, the latch moves as it should. When the lock is triggered here, the little brown pin pops out. You can see it, and it locks the machine closed. Put the connector retainer back in place, and now you can connect the machine's lock. This contact already needs to be replaced, but I don't have a replacement yet. So for now, using WD-40 or a similar lubricant, I'll remove the oxidation from the contacts and temporarily put it back in place. Connect the lock to its connector until it clicks into place. And now you can install the lock back onto the machine's body. Now install the water protection cover onto the lock. It snaps on incredibly easily and securely, and then carefully guide the robust lock mechanism into its designated place, gently pressing from the opposite side with your free hand until the sturdy latch fully and completely comes out of its opening, ensuring a perfect fit and secure closure. Tighten it well with 2 screws. And now the lock is installed in its place. All that's left is to put back the rubber gasket that seals the door. Pull it outward. Rubber rim. Now put the cuff onto this protrusion, which serves as its fastener. To do this, slightly fold back the cuff and fit it over the edge so that it sits tightly. Do this all the way around. After the cuff is in place, secure it with the retaining ring. To do this, you should first carefully fit it into its groove at the very top, and then gradually work your way down along the entire length. Then, carefully stretch it out well and gently put it on. There. Everything is in its place. And now the machine is assembled. All that's left is to check it out. Does the lock work? Close the door and try to start the machine. Select the quick wash mode. The lock engaged and the water started filling. This way I was able to repair the lock on the washing machine, which wouldn't close. Of course, this is only a temporary fix, and eventually I'll have to buy a new one since the old one is already worn out. But as a temporary measure, this repair will do just fine.